Check a Pro Joe here on the Check a Pro radio show. Love talking home improvement. I've got a home improvement expert here, Nathan Shafer from Shafer Heating and Cooling. Hello, Nathan. How are you?
Hey, great. How are you, man?
I am living the dream. It's so great to have you here on the program today. You know, questions come in to the radio program, and this is a common question. It's a common issue, and it's happened to me before in the past with my air conditioning unit. And the question is what causes AC units to freeze up?
Great question. Yeah, definitely a common one, especially this time of year.
Mm.
We get that one coming in quite a bit. So, there's a list of things really that can cause the AC to freeze up. It could be, first thing to check first would be airflow, right? So if we don't have enough airflow moving across that indoor evaporator coil, it's going to get colder and colder, and it's going to cause it to freeze up. So, number one thing to check for you as the client is, hey, is the air filter clean? When was the last time I changed it? It's out of sight, out of mind. It probably feels like it was last week, but let's face it, it might have been 2 months, 3 months, 6 months ago. So check the air filter. Let's make sure that's good and clean. It could be a cleanliness thing on the coil. So once again, causing airflow issues. Could be issues with the blower motor. Outside of that, outside of airflow and duct sizing and things, it could be other things related to refrigerant circuits. So things like metering devices, low on charge. Maybe there's a leak in the system. Some people will kind of have that common thought process or belief that, hey, it's been 5 or 6 years. It's probably time to add a little bit of charge to it. In reality, that system should not be leaking. That should be a tight sealed system. And so if there's no leak, we really shouldn't have to ever be adding refrigerant to the system. So, hey, let's get it charged up and working correctly, but let's also check the system for leaks. And we've got the instruments and things to be able to do that. So those are some of the most common things. There's other things as well, but that's going to be some of your most common things. So airflow, low on charge due to a leak or a metering device, restrictions, something like that in the refrigerant circuit. So lots of things that can cause that system to freeze up.
Some people will top off their refrigerant every year. That's like you said, you're not supposed to do that. Some people avoid getting the repair done and they're putting a Band-Aid on it. It's kind of like having to put oil in your car or truck all the time. It's not
Mhm.
supposed to be leaking.
Yeah.
But you can still operate both the air conditioning system and the car or truck for a while like that, but it's not the right thing to do. It is important to keep coils, whether it's outside or inside, clean, the air filter clean. So I would guess that if everything's been running great with your 5-year-old unit, but all of a sudden you're having a problem, then something's changed. Something's dirty, or you might have a leak.
hmm Yeah, like you said, it's not that you couldn't keep, quote unquote, topping it off.
Mm.
But not only that, just a Band-Aid, it could be causing some other wear and tear on the system by it constantly getting low and you're running it. You could be increasing utility bills because it's changing your run times, the efficiency of the system, it's changing the comfort of the home, all these different things. But also, too, topping it off can get expensive. Refrigerant's not cheap. Having that licensed technician and that fully stocked truck that, kind of that ambulance, that emergency vehicle come out, every time to keep topping it off, that can get costly. And so we want to make sure we find the right fix, the proper fix, the one-time solution to get that system fixed, not freezing up and working properly and efficiently for the client. So, and we're definitely obviously always here to do that 24/7.
I've heard of tips also when it freezes up. If you know it's freezing up, you really need to shut it down for a while to let it
Yes.
defrost. Even though it may be very, very hot where it's freezing up, it doesn't matter. It's going to freeze.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you've got signs that it's starting to frost or freeze up, yes, shut it down because you can cause so much more damage. If we're in the cooling mode where it's going to start freezing first, 9 out of 10 times is that evaporator coil inside the furnace inside the house. And it might work its way back out. So you may notice it at the outdoor unit on that big refrigerant line coming up. But if it's freezing up out there, that means the inside unit is a huge chunk of ice. But that's all inside the system. So chances are you may not be able to see that. Well, that's creating a lot of pressure on that coil, which can cause more leaks or other damage. Or when it melts, water is going to start getting down to the furnace. So just shut power off to the furnace, shut it down, give us a call, let us come out and check it out. But yeah, shut it down as soon as you notice that. Don't try to keep getting just a little bit out of it, which I know it's tempting. It's hot, and that's what you naturally want to do. However, when the technician comes out and it's a huge chunk of ice, there's not much they can do or test until it unthaws. So let's turn it off. Let's let it unthaw. Let's not cause any more damage. That way, when the technician comes out, they can do a proper diagnosis and be able to tell exactly what's going on with that system, what caused it to freeze up to begin with.
Great advice. Nathan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, you bet, Jim. Thank you.